Hello, Iris J here with Madrona's Pulse Teachings. I hope you're all doing well wherever you are when you are watching this. And I am here today to talk with you a little bit about some of the transiting energies we have. Talk about astrology for healing. We're talking about Venus transiting through Pisces. This is a very healing energy. She is going to be moving through Pisces until about February 19th-ish. And I just want to talk with you a little bit about what this energy can mean for us. And I also want to offer you some reflections and particular ways of coming into reflecting with this energy that really work with the type of energy and the type of mindset that Venus in Pisces is asking us. So Venus has just come out of Aquarius and now she's in Pisces, which is very different energy for us. And, you know, Venus archetype. This is our values. Venus is this deeply divine feminine energy that helps us tap into our values, what's meaningful to us, what's necessary to us, desire. Venus is about our desire. And as she cycles through the zodiac, she helps us to journey through really coming in, the transiting Venus helps us to really journey through coming into what are actually our soul's values. What are we here to cultivate a life around so that we can ultimately be aligned with our higher self, with our sacred self, with divine self, whatever language, with spirit, whatever language works for you in your own psycho-spiritual realms. And this is why Venus is actually about much more than relationship. She often just gets talked about relationship, especially in kind of a lot of pop culture astrology. Relationship is absolutely part of the Venus paradigm and the archetype. But the key is that it's actually about our values and the way that we shape lives and relationships with our values that bring certain types of people into our life. Right? This is why as we mature and as we shift and as we start hopefully aligning more to our soul's path, our relationships shift, right? The types of people that we're attracted to, whether that's in romantic partnership, friendships, businesses, Venus cares about all of our relationships. She's aligned with Libra in that way. She's one-on-one relationships. So that's the archetype of Venus that's being activated, really about our values, self-care. How do we value self-care? How do we value romantic relationships, partnerships, friendships in ways that are really beneficial to a Piscean way of being? That's what Venus transiting is kind of helping us to tap into right now. So what is Pisces all about? Pisces is the ocean. It is undifferentiated selfhood. It is our spirituality. Pisces, you know, spirituality, of course, comes up in different archetypes throughout astrology. So when we're talking about Pisces, we are talking about the ultimate mystical experience. We are talking about there is no ego. Pisces wants to strip away all layers of the ego in order that we can literally just sit with spirit. That's what Pisces is about. And things that help us do that, art, ways of being in the world, dreams, you know, these are all Piscean aspects, ideas, part of the archetype that help us communicate and commune with that spiritual self. It's also, you know, so Venus journeying through Pisces, most of what you see on like TikTok or Instagram, if you use these things, these major modes of communication in our contemporary society, you'll just see really beautiful imagery, softness. This is very true. This is real. This is the beauty of Pisces coming through and our values. But we also need to be with the entire spectrum of the Pisces archetype, which this is the ocean. This is the unconscious. This is grief. This is, you know, in Pisces, we're not separating between joy and grief. We're not separating between the good life and the bad life. Pisces is all of it, and it's non-judgmental. Because in Pisces, we are able to understand that all of life simply is in this moment. It's true presence. It's true meditative presence. It's a sign that is also the experience of enlightenment and mystical experiences that are oneness with God, source, again, a divine mystery, whatever language resonates with you. So all of that to say, it's not just the prettiness of life. It's the whole of it. And this is important because while Venus is journeying through Pisces, we can really unravel societal messages, societal attachments to our values. Hopefully Venus going through Aquarius before this stage, there's logic to the zodiac. It's non-linear, but there is logic. Was about connecting into kind of higher values of self. And that Aquarius energy of connecting to what is higher, what is about evolution, that's all about breaking with mainstream. Then we come into Pisces and we come into this, okay, we've kind of broken down some shit. We've kind of broken down things that were holding us back from connecting with what is necessary for evolution. And now we're simply in the spiritual waters. Now we're not even doing work. We're not trying to evolve. The work is to surrender. Pisces is all about surrender. Surrender to what is present. That is the grace. That is the beauty. So also knowing that as you're going through this journey, these few weeks with Venus and Pisces, that grief could come up, loneliness could come up. These are all parts of the Piscean archetype as well. And the task is to simply let it be. And just like if you do practice mindfulness or meditation, when we do that, we start to see that just like the ocean, this is Pisces, you know, those twinges of loneliness can suddenly come into beautiful presence, and then we can move into a different emotion. Emotions move. It's about not attaching to getting stuck. It's about letting the energy flow and coming into that type of awareness, and then letting that be the awareness that's helping us tap into what our values are, what we want in this life. This is also really nicely set up by this cosmos psyche that we're all part of, because in March, Saturn is going to journey into Pisces. So we're getting a touch of some Piscean energy to work with our values. Saturn's going to be there for a few years. There will be another video about that because it's way too much for right now. But it's nice to do some creative reflection on our values through a Piscean lens, because Saturn is going to come in and ask us to get quite real about what it means to be on a spiritual path over the next few years, which all we need to do is look around at the world, collectively, individually, globally. We need a little bit of this. We need a little bit of getting real about what it means to be in these human bodies in a way that is aligned with spiritualities. Not one, many, but in a way that is helping us to thrive individually and collectively. So these energies are part of the next years of energies that we're working with. And we can really work creatively. Now, this is the piece, this is the reflections that I want to offer you, because Pisces does not work in ordinary, explicit, linear language. That's not the language of Pisces. She speaks in poetry, she speaks in movement, she speaks in the ocean, she speaks in emotion, she speaks in the effective embodied self. So when we want to work intentionally with these energies, which is what astrology is about, not just getting told a sun sign horoscope about how wonderful this month is going to be. And astrology is about tapping in and doing work, but doing work with ourselves in all different ways that is thriving and fulfilling and helping us to heal on these journeys that we're here, so that the collective heals as well. And we're coming into more and more alignment with this energetic presence that we all are part of. So one of the ways we can do that with Venus and Pisces is I'm going to offer you these reflections now, which the language is actually, they're coming from something called poetic inquiry. This is a field of meaning making that I do a lot of work in. I teach in it and I work in it and I write in it and I research in it, and I'm finishing a book on it. And what this is just allowing kind of poetic language, whether you do these in like you could write poetic inquiry in scientific prose. It's not about what you write, it's about the process. And it's really about trying to come into a flow of writing. That's what it signifies. And that we don't know what's going to emerge. We get so trained to think we have to know what we're going to say before we say it in this society. This is education does this to us, that oftentimes we lose the creative energy that is to simply come into speaking or writing or just allowing it to unfold on the page. If you're a journaler, you can also respond to these prompts with visual art. You can respond to them by just speaking out intuitive poetry in your own space. You can write poetry to them. You can journal with them. I'm kind of giving you them with the intention that you might journal with them. But you can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of creativity. Okay. So again, just ways of kind of like coming into our values, lessons, images, really paying attention to dreams throughout the next few weeks. Pisces is the realm of dreams. So what messages do you get in your dreams? You could journal with them, and especially journaling with your dreams in terms of what values are coming up. And also, what are you potentially being asked to let go of? But when in Pisces, when we're letting go, we're actually just kind of witnessing layers fall away, kind of like the scorpion idea of the skin shedding from the snake. That archetype is also part of Pisces. It's just happening in a kind of elevated way. Okay, so first reflection is, she beckons me to dive deep below the surface of myself. I dive down. I feel unnecessary layers of myself fall away with grace and beauty. Swimming in and through these waters, I meet. Swimming in and through these waters, I meet. And from there, you will just write with this. You could set a timer for yourself, 5 minutes, and you just write for 5 minutes. You could have no timer and just write. But again, this is the prompt. She beckons me to dive deep below the surface of myself. I dive down. I feel unnecessary layers of myself fall away with grace and beauty. Swimming in and through these waters, I meet, and see where it takes you. Another prompt. Again, you can choose which of these you like. In a waking dream, I see. In a waking dream, I see. Where does that take you? And the final. A child awakens in me. She tells me she has wisdoms my soul longs to know. She beckons me to sit with her on the shore and close my eyes, she says. So I'll read that once more. A child awakens in me. She tells me she has wisdoms my soul longs to know. She beckons me to sit with her on the shore. Close my eyes, she says. So again, you could work with all of these. You could work with one this week, one the next week. It's really up to you. You really want to just work with whatever your intuition pulls you to. This is a Pisces water sign. After all, we are talking about intuition. And this is also, I mean, Venus in Pisces, the word grace is very much present. So allowing, inviting, and surrendering to grace. Some of us are not used to doing this, especially if we have lived through violence, or we have trauma in us, or we're living through systemic oppressions and marginalizations. If we're just watching the news a lot, we can get kind of pulled away from being present with grace. And Venus in Pisces is about grace. So really, whatever practices help you to surrender and embody and simply commune with that presence that is always with us, but sometimes this mind closes, really opening. And blessings to you, and I will see you soon. Take care.